Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We welcome Natine in Canada, fellow Canadian. All right, beautiful. We also welcome from Scranton, Susan, John from North Carolina, Robert is in Boston, Shalom, Liba and Davida, getting ready for Shabbos in New York, AJ, Indonesia, welcome. In Germany, Michael is with us, and Gabi in the UK, all right. Beautiful. Diane, I think you're in Arizona right now, if I'm not mistaken. Globetrotter. Yan is in Mexico. Lori in North Carolina. Eugenia in Calgary. Thank you for the note. David in Sacramento, California. Usher in Tennessee. Tim in Texas, Michael in Virginia, Katie also in Texas, Rena in Colorado is with us, in Georgia, Gilise, Andrew joined us in Springfield, New Jersey, and in Malaysia, Azar, welcome. David in Batya, Montreal, Irma in St. Martin, welcome. From Iowa, Teresa, Cindy in Florida, Christina in Texas, Alice in Baltimore, Rusty also in Texas. Ooh, lots of Texans. I just told a Texan joke. Who else is with us? We've got Vilma in Clubhouse, Batya and David, Marcy, Adam, Tim, Celeste, Michael, Boss, Jennifer, Stephen, Andrea, Eliana, Israel, and someone I can't make out the name, but welcome. Instagram, we have Alcoy in Peru, and Talamenta, Alice, Marlene. We have a pet photographer, Adam. Some other names I can't make out. Welcome to everybody. We continue and conclude the 6th essay. Phenomenal teaching that we had a big question and issue yesterday that we brought up about King David. King David, the Talmud tells us, was punished for referring to the Torah as the vital force of creation and its teachings, a law, a very detailed law of something, brings new vital force, new life into this world. Meaning that if you, for example, your tefillin, are not written properly, or the straps are turned inside out, or whatever, one single detail, it doesn't mean that you just haven't done the mitzvah, right? What it means is you have not created a union in the divine between male and female of the divine, Zoh and Malchus, something we've explained at great length in the past, and through that union, bring new life into this world. Hence, you got to do the mitzvah obviously correctly, but the point being that the Torah then is the source of life into this world. And King David was in a moment of anguish and found solace in the fact that, the adherence to the mitzvah, as the Torah teaches us with its details, is brings life, and therefore there's nothing to be worried about. No anxiety. Oh, that's pretty powerful. For that he gets punished, that he forgets a law. What's the law that he forgets? He forgets that when he captures the ark back from the Philistines, he put it into a wagon and it was ridden off in a wagon. When the law is any school child knows it, studies the Chumash, that the Levites have to carry it on their shoulders. So, first of all, what's wrong with, wouldn't it be amazing that the entire world would recognize, especially the Jewish people should recognize, that every mitzvah and its details, as the Torah delineates it, brings life into this world, animates the world? Wow, that's amazing. That's very powerful. And, boy, would the world be a different world. Would we not be truly committed to doing a mitzvah as the Torah tells us in its details? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Yet, there's something wrong with this. He gets punished. You call them songs of life. So that is the issue that we need to understand. So the Alter Rebbe explains. So, first of all, it's true, this point. There's no question that the life force of the world is pending on God and His divine wisdom, which is His Torah, and the minor details of it. Therefore, we elicit, we enjoin heaven to be brought down on earth, meaning a new vital force of God. That we have that power to bring life, vitality from heaven above through our act of mitzvahs, as the Torah tells us. However, the Alter Rebbe says that this is actually external. This is the hinder part, the backside, as it were, of the supernal thought. The fact that Torah is supreme wisdom is but a shade of it. That's only a shade of it. Just like a shade is not the real thing, right? So this is not the real thing, it's the external thing. So what is it? The innermost core of the Torah is that it's fused and one with the infinite of God in a perfect unity. That's what it is. Relative now to what the Torah is, that it's one with the infinite, one with in a perfect unity with God. Relative to the infinite one God, all of the worlds and the vitality that the worlds get is sheer nothingness, as if non-existent. As we say about God, that before He created the world, there was nothing but God. After He created the world, there's nothing but God. Relative to God, the world has absolutely no account. It doesn't affect the change in Him. Therefore, this internal aspect of the Torah, being wholly united with God, should not be lauded as this is the animating force of the world. Now, this notion, the Alter Rebbe says, this inward aspect of the Torah that it's one with God, humans can't really have a heartfelt joy and delight in this. So who has the joy? God has the joy. He has it. It's His pleasure. It's Him. God understands its ways, knows its station and quality. It's like a self-knowledge that God is having of self. And this is concealed from mortal eyes. In other words, this is what the truth of Torah is. It's one with God. So, metaphorically, it's like a person, we see, what we see of a person is really the external of them, but the core of them, that they have a divine soul that's bound up in one with God. It's hard to delight in that. We usually delight on external things, on things that we can have a handle on, right? Like this mug I'm holding, the handle is external. That's why I can have a handle on it, right? I don't have a handle on the inside, You don't hold the inside, right? Because the inside is to itself, the inside of the mug, right? I'm holding on the outside. Even if I'm holding it, it's still on the outside. It's the handle that I have on it. That's the external, because that's what I can have a connection to in real time and space, so to speak, right? But the internal of it, well, not really. So a human being, likewise, forget, not even talking about what's going on in their conscious mind or even subconscious. That's even external, by the way. Is that what defines a person? What goes on in your head and what is in your subconscious mind? No. That's even external. So we're talking something much more profound and deeper. The way the person is to themselves, as themselves, and we're not God, so therefore we probably don't even know about that. We're not even aware of it. Of the divineness nature of the soul that we have, its internal aspect that it is bound up in one with God. But God, His Torah, His divine wisdom, is totally bound up in one with Him, and it's a self-knowledge and hence a self-delight. Okay. This is what the Arizal writes when God says He can't see my face, meaning my innermost dimension of Torah. Panim means face, means inwardness. You can't see that. Torah is a delight of God. Now, the Alter Rebbe explains. Okay, so what do I have from that exactly? I mean, if I can't delight in it, can't appreciate it, what do I have from it? So, the Midrash says that concerning this innermost level of the Torah, it says, I was by Him, by God, Amon, which means one who is nurtured. The Midrash comments, don't read it that nurtured, but one who nurtures. This sublime innermost level of the Torah descends and nurtures Jewish souls, inasmuch as that it nurtures us to give us a transcendence of this world, just as this element of the Torah transcends the world. The world, however, is vitalized by the externality of Torah. And the external aspects of Torah brings delight to the world and to us all. But the nurturing, so it nurtures us, that doesn't mean that we really, doesn't mean we get it. Doesn't mean we apprehend it, but the internal aspect of it is nurturing. So, the Alter Rebbe continues and says that the Torah was given to us with an inwardness and an externality, right? Meaning front, back, right? It was given to us that way. Now, King David, what did he do? He seized upon the external aspect of Torah, praised this external aspect as songs that merely relate to how the Torah animates the world. That's what he did. And for that he gets punished. With what? Forgetfulness. Why are you punished with forgetfulness? Because what's forgetfulness? When something is not an indelible mark, inward impression that it made upon you, and it's only external, you forget. You forget. That's what happens. We all do that, by the way, right? This is King David. It's on me, right? You forget. So he forgot. And what did he forget? He forgot that the ark needs to be carried on the shoulders of the Levites. Ooh, wow. Well, what are the Levites carrying? They're carrying the Ark of the Covenant that has it in the tablets. The tablets are written with no backside. The tablets were carved. Right? They were carved. And when you read it from here, you read it, I'm the Lord your God. You turned it around, it was carved right through. And you know what it read? Not backwards, but the same. I'm the Lord your God. Now, some call that a miracle. Indeed it is, but that's not the point. You know what the point was? There's no backside to the tablets. There's only a front side. There's only a front side to it, meaning there's only the inwardness of Torah when we're talking about the tablets on this dimension, on this level. And the Levites have to carry it on the shoulders. Why? What's wrong with a wagon? Because what is a shoulder? The shoulder is the go between front and back. It is expressing the Levites when they carried on their shoulder that the Torah should affect me, that the Torah, the tablets, has only a front side to it, only an inwardness of it. It's only connected and one with God. That's its reality. Totally bound up with the infinite one. That nurtures our soul. And therefore the Levites would carry it on the shoulder, that message should be carried from front to back. Listen, we're in the human condition, and therefore we do have internal and external, because that's the human condition. But the message should be, hey, you're carrying the Torah. You're carrying the divine oneness of God. There's no backside to it, no back talk. Carry that message. Bring it to the back. The back should also recognize that message, so to speak. Wow. That is extremely powerful. If everybody followed the idea over here. Um, so what do we have? Is Torah in fact the divine light of God that animates this world? Absolutely, and that's phenomenal. But that is nothing compared to what it really is. So right now we could be feeling, wow, uplifted and moved by Torah. It's giving me, inspiration and energy. It's much more than that. It's giving you a connection to God, to the Infinite One, bound up to Him in a perfect unity. How do I digest that exactly? Okay, you're right, because we're very external people, and we want to know the consequence of that. What do I have from that? What's my handle on that? Okay, we'll get over ourselves. I recognize there's something beyond that. There's something way beyond that we have here in our study of Torah. Way beyond. Way beyond my inspiration, way beyond my feeling of connectivity. Not that I hope we're inspired by this. I hope so. I hope we're, but there's something more than that we need to be aware. To feel the vitality, how hey, I've gone through what King David has gone through, that you're feeling anxiety, you're feeling low, you're feeling whatever, and you study Torah, and what happens? You're on top of the mountain. You're feeling the force. You're feeling the vitality. Feeling connected. It's all feeling. It's all my feeling. And there's a truth to it. I'm not denying. Here we're saying even something more, that you're bringing the vitality into the world, animating the world. Right? Not just your feeling. That's all external. Again, hey, very important that we appreciate that. Very important. But even more important is that it's nurturing our neshama, our soul, by being bound up with the Infinite One in a perfect oneness. There's no backside. That's really what it is. And everything else comes as a result. Okay. Questions, comments, discussion. We have some questions, I think, here on Facebook and on Clubhouse. Lori, we have to be careful with how we give the praise. King David held on a higher standard. Yeah. Listen, King David's King David. No question. Absolutely. David, I don't see your question. I'm sorry. I have to. Oh, now I do. Look at that. Will we see Hashem's face when Mashiach's come? The inwardness, yes. What happens when we forget, but then remember it later? What do you mean, what happens? We forgot. You know, Tzaddik doesn't forget because they're living this inwardness. Real, a Rebbe doesn't forget. Yeah. All right, any questions, any comments over here? What's going on? No conversation over here. Marcy, Liana, Bachi Bilma. All right. I guess there's clarity here. Folks, God willing, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. on Instagram. I think it's going to be on Facebook too. Yutis Gisli Fabringen. Myself with Errol Solomon. And I think some others. Reminder today at 1 o'clock, Rambam. And Batya, did you want to share something?
That there's a question at the end. There are questions, more than one question.
Where?
On Facebook.
Oh, okay, thank you. Are we punished like a tzaddik for forgetting, or just human nature? No, don't. Everybody's judged according to who they are, not according to, someone else. So yeah, don't get caught up in this and, oh my gosh, I forgot something. I'm gonna get punished. I mean, I forgot, that must mean I'm being punished. Don't go there. That's very unhealthy. Very unhealthy.
Okay, and Lori says we have to be careful with how we give praise. Was King David?
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay. That's it, I think.
We are only human. That's right, Alice. Don't worry about it. We're learning Torah over here. Take the right message. The right message is that you're learning Torah. Torah is one with Hashem. It's when we study, we're bound up. It's nurturing our soul, that oneness of God that is found in Torah, and that is powerful. It's nurturing our soul beyond what we can imagine. It gives us transcendence of this world. That's why the Jewish people are an eternal people, based on Torah. Based on Torah, that's what makes the eternity of the Jewish people. Yes. Yes.
I have a question about being forgetful with Torah learning. Like there's an idea that, we're not supposed to be forgetting the Torah, or I'm not sure what to do with that.
As I said, leave it go. Leave it go. That's not the message here. That's not the message, right? That's not the message. The message is the unique nature of Torah, and take that. Listen, we're talking about King David. We're talking about lofty individuals, righteous individuals. And we're talking about a different breed than you and I. I forget a lot of what I learned. If I would only remember half of what I learned, oh man, I'd be something.
You're learning Rabbi, with all of the laws of learning Rabbi.
Sorry.
Learning all the laws
That's right. If I could remember, oh my gosh. Yes. So that let's not get caught up in the wrong thing. We're gonna forget. We're gonna forget because we're not righteous. We're not so indelibly marked by what we're learning because we're not so inward. We and you know and therefore that's who we are. Understand that. Understand that nonetheless God gives me an opportunity when I'm studying Torah that I should be aware that there is an inwardness of the Torah that is bound up with God, the Infinite One, that is nurturing my soul. Period. Wow.
Rabbi,
yes, go ahead, Vilma.
so like to learn something, like to really learn it, it has to be like consistent and repeated like a number of times. So that's not to say that, some people do learn things for the first time, but most people don't. It has to be repeated, and life lessons are learned and relearned. Yep. It's not something that, one and done. And that's why it's done every day, because it is nourishing. It's just like taking a shower and stuff. You do it every day, right?
Right.
So that's the positive aspect of it. And also just like being a good example and doing all of those actions that are there, the mitzvot and all that stuff does change things.
Yeah. So, exactly. Listen, we are in the human condition, and because of that, we have a backside. Not everything we do is divinely, connected to Hashem's kedusha. So we partake in klipa. Klipa is a shell that covers over. So it's going to cover over, and covering over conceals. Forgetfulness is concealing something. So that is what's going to happen, because that's where we're at. King David was a different person. The Rebbe is a different person. So we're talking about, people who are not living in Klippa, right? We live there. And, that's, go ahead, Batya.
There's another question. Will all the nations of the world come to learn this?
This is unique to the Jewish people. The notion of it, but this is unique to the Jewish people. That's why God gave the Torah to the Jewish people. Non-Jewish people have 7 Noahide laws that are based on the Torah, but this is a uniqueness, to the Jewish soul. Now, what does that mean for non-Jews? Not precisely. I don't know precisely, but coming back to the notion of God, that that the Torah is animating the world and gives life to me, literal life, right? So that's phenomenal. Like, let's not make light of that. I mean, the alternative is, so to speak, making light of it in the sense that there's something so much more, he's saying, and there's something so much more to it, right? But that being said, it's that's something, that's something amazing. So that's about the human condition. The human condition is life. Nothing more human than that. Life that comes from God, comes from His Torah. So that's something phenomenal. So here's something that the Jewish soul is nurtured, something that transcends that. So, yeah. Anyways, Folks, I have to go because I have to teach elsewhere now. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you for Chabad Zech and Kedeshim in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a good day, Erev Shabbos, and a great Shabbos. God bless you all. Be well.